Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Monday night here at Proficiency Bonus. My name is Matthew, your somewhat muddled Dungeon Master for this evening. Before we jump into everything, a couple quick shout-outs. I want to say a thank you to Twitch, obviously the platform you're probably watching us on right now, although if you are catching us on YouTube, make sure you liked and subscribed so you get that information when new episodes drop if you're not watching us live on Twitch. To our friends in Canada, Little Dragon Corp, you can put an exclamation Little Dragon in the chat, give you a link to their website. You can use the discount code PROBONUS, 10% off your order. They ship global, so definitely check it out. That discount, depending on how much you're ordering, pretty much covers the cost of your shipping usually. So definitely check them out. We love them. We talk about them all the time. I shill for their dice because if I don't, they don't seem to roll well for me. And then down south in Evans, Georgia, we have Cardboard Castle Games. You can put exclamation point CCG. It'll give you a link to their website. If you're local, swing by, check them out. They've got all sorts of different cards, games, books, dice, everything you need. If you happen to stop by their brick and mortar location, if you're local, let them know that you're a fan of Proficiency Bonus, and they'll give you 10% off your purchase at that point in their actual storefront. So definitely check them out. We love them both. They've been huge supporters of us over the last couple of years. Supplied us stuff for our birthday giveaways, so definitely give them, let them know we sent you, give them a little bit of love. With that being said, we'll jump into last time, as our party has been working their way through the books at Candlekeep, looking to find this referenced key of knowledge. They flipped through some books, looked through some different things, had a couple of different ideas. Eventually, having a couple of conversations with one of the great readers, a very interesting Gith Zerai by the name of Vizar Og. Eventually, Artemis had cast the spell Contact Other Planes, managed to keep their wits about them, and had a conversation with some extraplanar entity. Trying to ask questions, wasn't really getting what they were looking for, and with their last question, just flat out asked for what they wanted. And apparently that was all they needed to do. The party has since let the Great Reader know, and the Great Reader has requested a meeting with young Artemis first thing in the morning. And that's where we'll pick up this week's session. So I turn it over to you, the players. I know this was happening near end of day in the day. Are there things people want to do this evening, or are we just wiping and picking up right in the morning with this meeting after breakfast?
Well, I left off enjoying Lydia's drink as she was passed out at the bar.
Oh yes, that's a thank you for that. Lydia is passed out, leaning on the bar currently. Sarah is currently face down on the floor with people just sort of stepping over and walking around.
Right.
Thank you, I had completely forgot about that.
Probably after I'm done the drink, I'll, stay around for a appropriate amount of time and then head up to my room and turn in for the night. Unless something more exciting happens, it's my plan.
Is our guide on call 20, like a 24/7 call? Do they have someone who shifts off with him, or do we have an hours of operation for research?
They didn't give you hours of operation, so you could go to the Emerald Door and request, and if he can't be there, somebody else will be able to help you.
Okay. Murdoch, she does go to sleep early, but she probably wakes up because, and I'm not going to take too long with this, I'll just sort of overall just explain it, but she realizes we'll probably be leaving soon, and everyone always normally asks either her or Artemis for information about things, so she needs to kind of like brush up on a couple things. She would tonight, hopefully after everyone's asleep, I'm sure that the more perceptive party members will hear her leave. I'm going to request a guide go in at night, and she's going to spend some extra time refreshing herself on planar thing while she has the super secret access, just like planar magic to sort of start to think about spells in the future, different planes, and the main ones, so like the abyss, the hells, reading more about it, devils, that sort of stuff. And she just wants to sort of brush up with the idea of that she's taking notes, but I don't really want to like take too much time and specify it all, but just so that if in the future, if I want to like try and like make a history check on something, maybe like it's something that she took notes on here, just to sort of cover that base.
Yeah, so let's do two things. First, go ahead and make a stealth check for me. I will say where you're doing this is everyone's asleep. I will give you advantage on the roll.
Oh, okay. Let's see, Murdoch, give me a good stealth. That's a natural 1 for the first one, but a dirty 20 on the second.
Oh, okay. Anyone have a passive perception above a 20?
Nope.
Okay.
Wow.
So you are a ghost in this. And then one more. Go ahead.
I can't let them know that I have 10 intelligence.
And second one, go ahead and make a intelligence check.
There it is. 2.
Oh, okay. So it takes you a little longer than you anticipated. So you're gonna be a little burnt tomorrow. No mechanical impact, but
Oh, okay.
it's a long ass night for you.
All right, because with a 2, I'm willing to take an exhaustion point that she like stayed up too late studying, if it means maybe a little bit more work got done.
Realistically, it's no need to impose a mechanical on it, but you do manage to get a decent amount of notes marked down.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
And then she goes back. Just in case we leave immediately after tomorrow. And she's like, wait, this is such a wonderful place of learning! Ah!
Okay, so with that, as Murdoch eventually finds her way back, gets back to bed a little later than anticipated, we will wipe to the next morning as the group of you start arriving downstairs to obtain your breakfast before Art's meeting.
Are Lydia and I still downstairs?
Oh, no, you guys were only unconscious for 10 minutes. Yeah, after that 10 minutes,
longer.
you would be able to get up and again finish up going to bed.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have some of the continental breakfast.
I'm gonna run off to the book place. Oh my god, the place where you request the tomes,
Okay.
and I'm gonna ask about Grandfather Rogue. Save me some breakfast, Granny! Shove some in that endless pocketbook of yours. I know that it doesn't have a bottom, or not like periods, but you know, just line the bottom with some wax paper and throw in some.
She lifts up the flap of her bag, and
figure
you
something.
already see that, like, neatly all the, like, harder stuff is on the bottom, and then, like, all the muffins and bread are on top, and she's just like,
All right. Thank you.
she sips her tea.
I think you're muted.
Muted.
You're muted, DM.
Sorry, I've been coughing, so
Oh.
please remind
It
me.
wouldn't be a proficiency bonus.
Oh, that's gonna happen at least once. So, yeah, easy enough for you to run over, put that request in. They tell you it's probably going to be about 20 minutes or a half an hour before they can bring back the information you're looking for.
Alright.
But they bring you into one of the study areas and put you in one of those little silent rooms so you can sit down and read it once they bring it to you.
Okay.
And what would the rest of you be doing is you get downstairs and find Sarah alone.
I'd be waiting around for Art because I'm sticking with Art today.
Good morning.
I'm not very good with dragonborn faces, but you don't look all that rested.
I didn't know dragonborns could have eye bags.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a coffee.
Yeah, I start pouring like tea and oh, okay.
I don't know.
How much did they say it was to like transcribe tomes? I think the number was mentioned, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, give me
Yeah,
a second.
I
I'm
did
just gonna
pay
grab
it,
the price
but
again.
Was it like
I-
3
Well,
gold a page?
I think there's a separate price for spell books, though, possibly.
Oh, that's possible too.
Wouldn't they have to pay you because you have to be the one to transcribe it?
Oh, loophole!
You do a trade,
mean-
yeah.
That is true.
Okay.
You are the only one that can read it, so like.
All right, never
But
mind.
only
I'll,
up to understanding some of the spells to a point.
You are the Rosetta Stone.
Unfortunately.
Life feels so special.
I would say skip to the end of the book and get the really juicy ones first.
My mind implodes.
That's what Murdoch does with all her romance novels too.
Well, at least we won't get gore on us
Whenever-
if it does.
whenever Murdoch starts a new book, reads the first sentence of the first page and the last sentence of the last page. Just
Oh,
like
I
me.
hate you.
That's what I
Okay.
do when I start a new book. I always read the last line of the book to see if like the
Ah.
first and last like
If they match.
Yeah.
But
So,
spoilers.
spell books
like
would
reading
cost
books, I've read.
50 gold per level of the spell within it.
Ooh.
So looking at and that's something you would have been told initially.
So like 6
So
first
So
level
you would
spells
know-
is 300 gold.
Yeah. So you would know just given through flipping through this would easily cost over 1,500 to 2,000 gold to copy.
We do have a bottomless pit of money. And
No,
again,
we don't. We have
Not
a pit of
bottomless
money.
anymore.
Quite a large
We've-
pit of
It's
money.
not bottomless, unfortunately.
We did finally like calculate how much is
we
in
have
there,
a
I
lot of
believe.
money. And also,
Yes.
you're the only translator.
We don't have a bottomless steak fries pit of money like at Red
Oh,
Robin's.
Oh, Red Robin.
Although
Your Red
technically
Robins
you
gives
do
you-
know where
Bottom.
a whole lot more gold resides
Oh, that's
should you choose to go back.
Oh, that's right. You didn't get all of it, did you? You just took
No,
as much
they
as you
ran.
could.
Carries
We
that
took
much.
as much
Yeah,
as we
that's
literally could
true.
hold and ran.
Road trip.
But once again, I can't really translate all of them. Okay.
Wait,
think
would
I
you be
just-
in a room with comprehend languages though? Going? No.
That
Okay.
doesn't work with spells.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
You can
Sorry.
comprehend languages, but it'd still be like my brain.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
no.
like spell runes aren't
My
considered
bean.
like a language.
And can I just say I'm impressed at Ink's ability to be a DM even when reading, but not letting the last sentence of the book affect his enjoyment of the novel itself. That's pretty
Oh, I don't do it for adventure books though. I don't do it for
Oh,
those.
okay.
No, I meant like novels.
No, I meant novels even, like reading for the journey's sake rather than just for the outcome. Like that's pretty. That tells a lot of you about you. So.
Pog. What are we doing?
Loggers.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm waiting around for Art so that
I'm
when
eating
that
a
happens,
light breakfast.
I can
I
accompany
would've-
Art and not let him out of my sight.
And I joined the table around this time. Look over at Sarah. Oh, so how's your head feeling today?
It was very
Well,
smug.
Besides the fact I landed on the floor, very good. Thank you.
It's good to hear.
My
I
head's
passed
fine.
Rose a plate of eggs. Here you go, dear.
Oh, thank you.
I put some toast, and a biscuit, and some sausage, and some bacon, and some more eggs, and another sausage, and a biscuit, and more eggs.
That's enough slices!
So we just
Pardon my
learned that
volume.
Sarah is in fact an Italian grandmother.
Hey!
Makes sense.
Gabagool. Yeah, no, I'd be eating like a light breakfast in case there is some mental stresses.
Artemis, you're not eating enough.
You see me with just a pear, and that's it.
I have like a full
This is on
mouth and a
purpose.
full plate. Like, kind of like gesture to some of the food in front of me.
No, please, I have a tiny tummy.
Can I try and stealth the pear out of Furious' hand and replace it with a buttered biscuit?
You could
You
try.
could try.
I mean, I'm literally just eating it, so it's
Let her be Let her be
I'm not just holding
healthy.
it out here.
I'm not eating enough.
Go ahead and make
Is a
a
buttered biscuit more than a pear?
go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. Given she is actively eating it, I'm going to say this has disadvantage.
Got a
Okay.
carbo load.
Minus 600 to the roll.
A 10.
Ouch.
I'm
I mean,
pretty.
my passive says 17, so
If I didn't have disadvantage, I rolled a 21.
She just holds it up here.
Please, Fury, you can see you're about to take a bite of a pear. There's just a biscuit slowly moving towards your hand.
I'll take the biscuit with the other hand and I'll put it on the table and keep eating it. Look over, like, what?
You need to have more than that. Do you want some sausage?
No thanks. What I've eaten is good enough. I can feed myself.
We're
Sarah,
not
you
exactly
can.
having like a huge fisticuffs fight. It's like a very cerebral morning.
Sarah, leave them alone, dear. Just make a plate for me. I've literally just been drinking this coffee, and I think I've actually refilled it twice, but I don't remember.
Actually, you spilled half of it on the floor the
What?
second time. I pile on eggs on Murdoch's plate
Hmm.
while she's not looking.
Oops. Artemis, are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Speak with the.
Oh, don't yawn. You'll make me yawn.
Are you ready to go speak with the
Don't do that.
that Rita who's the great Rita?
Murdoch, are you
Well,
feeling alright?
those good readers.
I'm tired. I'm old. I'm tired.
Just because you're old doesn't mean you're tired. You were doing fine
I'm
yesterday.
old and tired. Listen, every day is a new day.
Usually sound a lot more proper. Yeah.
Sharp?
You know how sometimes if you sleep in a bed that's too comfortable, it's just like sleeping in a bed that's uncomfortable. No.
No?
Is that a
You know-
thing?
You know when you get like too hot, but then you're too cold, but then you're too hot, but then you're too cold?
No?
Alright, well, I can't
But I'm
explain
having
things
bills.
to you if we can't find something to be relatable about.
If you haven't
so
been
I'm
through
just-
menopause, I don't know what I could do.
Sarah, you know when you're too hot, but then you're too cold, but then you're too hot, but then you're too cold?
Hi.
So you stick the one foot out and you find equilibrium.
Yes, and then you have your shawl over your shoulders and a light blanket over you. But
I
then
would
your
love a
feet
shawl.
and then your feet are covered by the comforter.
So you know when you're really sleepy, but you
Yeah.
slept really well,
Yes.
so you're tired.
Yes.
There we go.
Anyways, I'm ready.
Good. Wonderful.
So,
That was
Is
hot.
everybody else ready? That's the question.
Just one more bite.
Aw. I slide a couple more pieces of food into my purse.
Oh god.
I'm the
Let's-
granny that steals silverware, but I'm not allowed to steal anything from
Who's-
Candlekeep.
Who's
You're
going?
coming home with me.
I'm going.
Okay.
Me?
You have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yay. We're not leaving Artemis alone again.
Lydia, are you going to come as well?
Lydia's not there.
Lydia's already gone.
Lydia's
She
not
didn't-
there.
You haven't seen Lydia this morning, now that you're looking around.
I
I
mean,
don't
I'm
know.
tired. She
I miss
probably
Lydia.
did do that and went, Lydia, are you going to come as well?
I don't
You've been
think
talking
Lydia's
to a
here.
Lannister.
It was just little one walking by.
I'll look over at like the barkeeper, the person around. Has the verbal come down this morning?
Oh, you mean the big woman?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, she came down and she went running out the door like bat out of hell.
You know where she went?
Oh, no, she didn't say
the
nothing to me.
Glass doors, maybe?
Sure.
How about I go see if I can find Lydia, and if I do, I'll bring her over to the meeting.
That's fine.
Alright. We each have communication spells, so I'm sure that we can meet up somewhere.
I mean, Candlekeep is big, but it's not that big out here. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. Well then, you should all probably get going, and I'll definitely be looking for Lydia.
shake you by the shoulder.
Soon.
Alright, there we go.
I will go find her soon.
Soon, right. Soon. Do I need to get the barkeep to keep an eye on you?
She's like, soon. Soon.
I'll be fine.
Soon.
I'm waking up.
I'm waking up. I want the world to know. Anyways.
Okay, so you
Go.
got Furia.
Right, yes, I'll head over, follow an art, I'm assuming.
So you got Furia, Art, Rose is going. Sarah, are you going with them as well? Is it-
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I've been left. I've been left.
Okay,
I
so-
will follow my party.
Okay, so as the four of you start heading over to, and again, you remember where his office is. Well, at least Furia, Art, and Rose do. Sarah, you had wandered off, so as you're sort of trailing behind them, they're leading the way over towards where this Great Reader's office is. And we're going to flash over to Lydia at the moment in her little study room that they brought her over to. And eventually they bring over... they do bring a book over to you,
Oh.
speaking about a country known as Arvander. And it goes on to give little bits of information about it. The most notable bit, though, is it is talking about the greatest and oldest of trees within this realm, known as Grandfather Oak. And this tree is so large that it supports an entire tribes of elves living in treetop villages and spread throughout the wide hollows beneath the trunks and branches. based within its roots, it also references that there's a chapel to the elven god of longevity. Also references that Grandfather Oak is named and respected as a living creature, much as sailors tend to name and refer to their ships as female.
Oh, great. I just wasted a bunch of time on a bunch of elven stuff. This is like going to the library and asking for where the biggest tree is, and it's an elven place where I don't belong. Don't think that's very helpful for me, but I'll make a mental note of it, and then I'll go back and I will just sort of meander out and for party. We'll go back to the tavern in place.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. 14.
Okay.
If you go back to the tavern, I fell asleep, and you'll find me.
So you don't see your group anywhere as you're sort of coming out looking around. You eventually find your way back to the hearth. And you do find Murdoch at the table, dozing.
She's never done this before. Usually she's ship shape. Shop shape. I don't know what that phrase is actually. Ship shape? I should know, I'm a sailor! Ship shape! Everything is usually ship shape. I'm gonna gently just poke her, and if she doesn't respond, I'm gonna try to sweep her up in my arms and take her upstairs to tuck her in.
I think a light jostle, she'll still stare. And she'll be like, Lydia, there you are. Gods, I'm good.
You're sure there. I could help you to your rooms if you needed.
Oh no. I'm just taking a little nap. Where did you go off to?
Looking for Grandfather Oak.
Who?
Yeah, elven tree. You know, they like to personify, anthropomorphize. Not really sure the word there, but they like to do that.
Okay. Did you find him?
Yeah.
Oh, you were researching him.
I was researching Grandfather Oak and found that it's just very, very old tree. Elven tree. Not what I was hoping for, as I'm supposed to be from him, but and I don't think I'm Elvish. I can read Elvish.
Well, I mean, just because it's an elven land does not mean that you're not connected to it. I believe that. I mean, did you ever question why you know how to speak Elvish?
No.
Could it be perhaps because you were from... Well, you are giant.
I can speak giant, I'm not just giant, and...
So maybe you come from a place where there's a lot of elves, and so therefore you learn their language.
Picked it up while I was little, maybe? Before I came here?
Yeah.
Possible?
The others are meeting with the Great Reader, if you want to catch up with them.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna catch up with them?
Oh, I'll go with you. I was
Okay.
supposed to find you.
Oh,
You found
good
me.
job. No. Yo, kept one eye open. I know you, Murdoch. Yes. Shall we? And I'll put up my arm.
Oh, we shall.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We'll go meet up with everyone.
Okay, so while you are on your way over, we will flash to our group who is arrived at the building. And upon speaking with one of the guards or attendants at the door, they proceed to bring you in, escort you back up that spiraling staircase. Invite you to have a seat in the waiting room and advise you that the Great Reader will be with you in just a few moments. About 10 or 15 minutes goes by. And eventually Murdoch and Lydia arrive.
Oh, welcome. You found them.
Sarah, have you heard of Grandfather Oak?
Have I heard of Grandfather Oak? In any stories or anything?
Go ahead and make a history check.
That is a 10.
The only thing that sort of jostles in your mind at all is that you had heard about what's the word I'm looking for? The Selderin, the Elvish Pantheon of gods.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Supposedly residing near a massive oak tree. The phrase Grandfather Oak doesn't ring a bell, but...
So, just big trees.
Yeah, well, this, like, they're... In the legends and the lore, they live within the forest in a beautiful palace within this forest area, but among the forest there is one tree that it just dwarfs all the others. Think of it putting a redwood from, California, 300-foot tall tree, next to a forest full of 70-foot maple trees. It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, tree, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's that. Yeah. That's the sort of picture that's been painted for you as a youngling.
Okay. Lydia, the only ones I'm assuming Grandfather Oak is a really big tree, but the only really big trees I've heard of are in stories about the Elvish gods when I was a kid. I don't know if that helps, but the specific oak part, I couldn't say.
Maybe it's metaphor from Grandfather Oak. Kind of like how we're all from the material plane.
You were researching on it, I take it? That's where you were?
Yes. Found out about, I forgot the name of it already. Arvander. And, how it's an elven kind of, village that lives in this giant tree, and I was just wondering if it was an actual place or not.
I mean, we never knew of Crindon. That's an actual place.
True. Very true. I guess there's hope for me yet.
There's always been hope for you.
Well, Art, how you feeling? I'll clap them on the back.
Nervous. Not too sure why I should be nervous. I suppose it's just authority figure. But otherwise, I'm good.
You're good? Alright, why don't you take it? I never do this. I'm gonna bless Art.
Hashtag blessed.
Yes. Okay. So that's about it.
And how long does bless last?
I am looking it up right now. 1 minute. Are you going in the next minute there, Art? Because have I got the soul for you?
I guess we'll see.
As you're saying that, Lydia, the Great Reader does arrive.
Oh, yeah, nice.
and looks at the group. Good morning. I was really only anticipating speaking with Artemis, but
That's what they all say, but once you get to know us, you'll warm up just fine.
Oh, that's adorable.
I suppose if you're all here, might as well let's begin, shall we? And goes over, proceeds to open up his office and invite the group of you in.
Ready. Art will like kind of fumble in their bag and grab the book and head on in.
Okay.
I follow in Artemis.
Yep, going on in.
Okay.
Follow as well.
So eventually, as the group of you enter, and again, he gestures at that same table where you had all been seated the other day. Goes around, sits in his chair on the other side of the table, and please have a seat. Let us have our conversation here.
Right. Art will kind of grab a seat closer to him, just so like if there's like anything that they need to point out, they can a little bit easier.
Okay. As you sit down here, he sort of scooches his chair a little bit closer to you, Art.
We.
So I'm told you can read it.
Yes and no. First I was hoping to ask something. Maybe request something?
I suppose it would depend on what you're asking.
Nothing too large, I suppose. Just maybe a few, like, freebies for the spells. Being transcribed from some things, and if you have any more information on the other books from this author.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Okay. Not good at those.
I would like to. Well, never mind. She rolled.
You have the bless.
It's only on saving throws and attack rolls.
Oh,
I don't
that's
think it's going
guidance.
to help a one.
Oh,
I'm not.
He sort of looks you up and down. And what would you be offering to, shall we say, equal value for these free transcriptions?
What knowledge I can give you from this book? As I currently am the only one who can read any part of it beyond the first page.
Go ahead and make another persuasion check. Nah, this time with advantage.
Okay.
As that is a very compelling argument to him.
14!
You definitely feel like you're getting a little bit of the stink eye from him. He's sort of looking you over. But he nods and goes over, gets a scrap of parchment. And once more you can see him sort of scrawling something out on it. Rolls it up, takes a little bit of wax, presses his signet into it, and hands it to you. And bring this over to the binders and present it to them with the seal intact.
Right.
As for other books by the same author, well, we have not been able to discern anything on it beyond the first page. So there are no other books within Candlekeep that match this motif or this appearance.
Okay.
Now, did this individual write others?
Yes,
Well
I
done.
did. And on that note, I suppose I'll get into the meat of the whole thing.
Wait. Just one question.
Go
What do
on.
you plan on doing with the information you gather from art?
Well, it depends on what we can utilize it for at the moment. Your diminutive friend is the only person who has ever been able to read this book that we are aware of. No one, save this one, knows what is contained within. Cannot answer what we plan on doing with knowledge without knowing what knowledge it is.
They'll start kind of flipping open past the first page. I can still read it, yes?
Yep.
Okay.
And then just start flipping through again. There's as you're flipping through, there are all manner of information contained within this book. Again, as you had flipped before, Logan, you recognize that there were some spell scrolls. There are chapters of information. It's up to you where Art is stopping or looking at this point.
Well, I think I almost kind of want to prove that I can like provide information that perhaps hasn't come up to them yet before I like say like, yeah, this is how I did it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I think so.
Yep. And so, how are you trying to prove it, though? What are you looking for?
I guess anything just so I don't know.
But let me ask this. So would you have at any point after gaining this ability, would you have been flipping through the book in your own time, reading through it?
Definitely.
Oh, okay. So give me a moment here. Let me... where is my thing? I should have asked that beforehand if you had plans, because then I could have sent this over.
Sorry.
Okay.
Honestly, probably some personal tidbits from the author, if there's anything in there. Nothing too
Okay,
too juicy, but a little bit to whet the appetite.
okay. That is not that word. Sorry, folks at home. Just give me a second. I'm just sending Artemis a quick message here. Okay. Okay, so you find information on... I just sent you a message in Discord. As you were reading through this the other night, you found a very... that first of all point you found extremely detailed. Like, step by step. Resided in the fortress of Zaman. Various other little bits and pieces where he resided. You found a section that described where he died. Mentions about things, something referred to as the Dwarf Gate War, and eventually his death location being referenced as Skullcap.
Okay. I suppose I would just like at least relay those couple things.
Okay.
Kind of flipping back and forth from pages to kind of like make sure of the reference. But yes, as for how I was able to read all this and such, I did use that contact other planes. And well, once as you saw, and once more for good measure, down in the catacombs. And quite simply, almost frustratingly simply, I just asked for the key.
So you asked in the catacombs?
Yes.
Miriam provided it to you.
No.
Then who did you ask?
Something from another plane. And I know that sounds pretty shady, and it is.
It's okay, I did it too, it's fine. We're buddies. I got your back.
Thank you, Lydia.
So, you can read this as well, then?
No, I didn't ask for that or any kind of power, which would have been helpful in hindsight.
So all you did was cast your spell and ask.
Yeah. I asked a couple other questions to try and figure out if, like, the key was some physical or intangible object or something, and a lot of beating around the bush, and then I just asked for it.
It was my idea.
Yes, no, it quite. Thank you, Murdoch.
Sometimes you just gotta ask. I probably brought a coffee cup with me. And I'm like,
You can see, and he's sitting there, he's sort of, I don't know, let us see if your explanation holds water.
Okay.
And he reaches down, takes out a couple of candles from beside him, sets them up, lights the candles, and might I borrow the book?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just. They'll slide the book over and then, like, scoot back a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of space.
And as he closes, and you can hear him start muttering, and you can see the eyes starting to do that same little, that same sort of clouding over that Arts had just done. And then he needs to make a roll.
Artemis is going to go to, like, lean over to whoever is, like, closest to them and be like, well, this doesn't work, I'm majorly boned, huh?
I'm just worried about their intentions, but that's for another time.
Okay.
This doesn't seem like a place that will just go off and start using things for bad.
No,
It seems to be more like a keeper of knowledge than a...
but knowledge
doer.
is power.
Artemis, do me a favor. Roll 66.
With great power. Oh, okay.
Oh no. They fail. No.
Did you say 6?
Yep.
Uh, 20.
Okay. So as you watch as he's going through casting the spell, and all of a sudden you watch as his entire body starts to jerk.
Oh, it boned her.
And he bites into his lip. You can see blood dripping out of his nose, running out of the corner of his mouth as he is now back in the chair, twitching. And looks up at the group.
A great reader.
Medicine check is
I'd be doing a medicine check too. Like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, this couldn't happen when Art.
Go ahead, make a medicine check.
17.
Oh no.
Uh,
Someone's gonna think that we
I got a
like
13.
Exactly.
something to
Did I just
As
give
you're
the
looking at
great
him,
reader?
other than the bleeding, like from his nose and mouth, medically he looks okay.
Great.
But again, it's a little hard to get a good like gauge on him. As when you come near him, he is just looking.
Does somebody know how to spell that? Is there a spell for that? I mean, I
yes.
could do healing,
Yes.
but not
Is
No,
there a
no,
spell
no.
for
I
that?
will.
not the mental side of things.
Is it a magic or is it like a the other thing that I can do that's very good?
You would
I
probably
think
know
so.
because you were able to catch. Well,
know.
would she know if she just did the spell from the room?
Don't have dispel.
Would I dispel? I have dispel, but would I know?
Well, I
whether
do
it
too,
was
but I
a-
wasn't sure that would
Okay.
work. I have it prepared, so.
I will say for either Art or Lydia, where they both cast the spell, if they want to make an Arcana check.
Do I have Lesser Resto prepared? Ooh.
I'll make an Arcana.
I
check.
do. I do.
Oh, okay.
I can also do Lesser Resto. I thought that would help too.
22.
Okay.
15.
So, Lydia, you wouldn't necessarily know this, as it was your
Okay.
first experience with this. But Art, where you've cast a spell a couple of times, you would know that trying to break through the boundaries that separate one reality or dimension from the other and have that communication is a very mentally taxing act. If your mind is not 100% focused on it, if you slip and miss something, it will fracture your mind. You, with that roll, you would know that the Great Reader is no longer home. He is insane. And it is, you would also know with that roll, it is beyond your ability to fix currently.
Is it permanent?
It's not permanent. It's just beyond what you can fix currently.
Oh,
Should we call someone?
Is there other
you-
offices in this building, or is it just this office?
you've
yeah.
seen
Was
other
there?
door-
Because I know when we the very first time there were also two people that were by the door.
It
Are they, like,
seems like this
outside?
meeting, there was nobody at the door. He
Oh,
just came
God.
over. You did pass other doorways on floors as you were coming up here, but you've never stopped. Like, you don't know what's beyond those doors.
I'm gonna run out of the room as soon as, oh dear, I don't think I can fix this with the healing I have, so I'm gonna start knocking on doors. Just in the
I'm-
order that I get to them.
I'm following after Furia and like I'll go on one side of the
You
hall.
might
You
not
go
be
on
able
the
to
other.
keep up to me. I'm running.
I'm
35 feet of movement.
If you're right, Murdoch, they might think we did this.
But we didn't.
Well, I mean, if
They
someone
can
thinks
fix
we
him and
did,
he-
they might not believe us.
They can fix him and he can tell us. He can tell them. Reader.
God?
Reader.
He's looking at you.
Just calm down.
I should
Fiddle
have
waffle.
listened to the reader.
What? Just we're going to get somebody to help you. Hopefully.
So,
Oh boy.
Furia, go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
What's the most ornate looking door?
15.
Oh, okay. And I'm sorry, what were you asking about the door?
I said which of the doors was like the most ornate looking besides his.
You'd have to keep going upstairs.
Have we gone through all this floor?
Well, basically what it is this is, think of it like a giant corkscrew.
Okay.
So as Furia's taking off and running back toward the doors she's seen, she's going downstairs towards the entrance.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going upstairs and knocking.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
I shall do that. Where are the dice? There we go. Oh my god. 17.
Okay. Okay. Really? There we go. Okay, so eventually, Furia, you running back down the stairs? Let's see, you find... Okay. You come across, somebody opens the door, looks to be a slightly older human male. As he sort of looks at you, yeah, yes, it's mighty early for all this racket.
Well, the reader just upstairs, they were trying to do a spell and they failed and now they're, crazy, I guess? Would you know someone to help with that? They can explain, the reader, I'm sure, can explain when it all gets resolved, but,
You would need someone from the temple. If it is...
That way? Just point.
Back down to the bottom floor, out across the courtyard. You can find the priest in the temple would be able to... the temple is where they house all of the restorative magics, if that's what's affecting them.
Well, if that's what you suggest, I mean, it was a spell that went wrong somehow, and I don't really do spells like that, so I guess I'll run that way, and I'll take a deep breath and keep on going down the stairs and
I
across
deal with
the
poetry
temple.
and music. You disappear and start heading out. Eventually, as Sarah has been running upstairs, eventually you come across as you're knocking on doors, a very stern-looking dragonborn opens the door. As the door opens, literally feet slapped together, just stands at attention, looking down at you. What is the meaning of this?
The great Rhea, you need to come. He's having a fit.
What does this have to do with me?
He's the great reader. Your great reader. He is in trouble.
Reaches back behind the door and grabs what looks to be a very nice walking staff and go. Takes the staff and gives you a little rap in the back. I said go.
Oh, okay. another one with a cane.
And behind you
I
just
start running downstairs ahead of
and
him.
as you're running, and you hear the footfalls coming behind you, and it is a very measured cadence to this individual's step.
Could we go a bit faster?
Doesn't even respond. Just keeps marching. Literally, it puts you in mind of a marching soldier.
Oh my goodness. I would like to, as we're walking, knock on other doors to see if there's anyone who is faster who can help.
As you get down, you actually pass 2 more doors on the way back down. You don't get any response from them.
Everyone shouldn't expect the bookworms to be up and alert, I suppose. Hey.
But eventually you make your way back. And as you come in, you can see Zirag is still sitting there with the others, still mumbling and literally just babbling in gibberish.
You see, as I told you, he's having some sort of fit.
And he walks in, looks at the candles, looks at the book, looks at the group of you. And this is something that you have done.
No.
We didn't do this to him.
No.
Trying
Just
a
cast a
spell and
spell. Yes.
It's more like we gave him the instructions and
We witnessed it. We were, as a cleric, we witnessed his spell casting.
wouldn't go run for help if we did this.
yeah, he accidentally just put the chair together backwards, so to speak.
But you have a cleric. Why are you bothering me?
Cause powerful enough. Way to make me feel bad. What do you do for a living?
Are you interrogating or are you helping, sir?
Everyone.
It takes the deputy sort of slams down ground. I deal with military strategy, the history of battles across the continent, and how those battles have upheaved the politics of the lands. This one
Very helpful.
lightly pokes it Sarah with his walking stick again. Said somebody was having a fit.
Yeah. It's... How old are you?
Well, do you know someone who can help, or can you not
I'm
help?
so glad
Is
I'm
that
not
what you're
there right
saying?
now.
Did you not see
If you need medical
aid in battle?
Perhaps seeking the clerics in the temple.
Probably, but are you single?
What?
Is he a good-looking fella?
Did you get affected by the spell too? What is happening?
Really glad I'm not there.
You watch as the face this individual had sort of a gruff expression on their face the entire time. You saying that, literally the face goes blank. For a split second, you'd swear that you just cast the same spell as Vizirog. There was just lights are on, no one's home,
Oh dear.
and then
I
just
have that effect on.
turns and walks away.
Oh, well, that's been all.
Doc, we need to
And you
find
hear
a
that
way out
very
there.
sort of, again, that measured cadence.
No help.
Well, let me.
Should I take the book? Should I just take the book for a
Yeah.
quick?
You should
moment?
hold on. You should hold on to the
Hold on
book.
to the book.
Is there a way to stop this with magic? If magic made him
Yes, there is, but we're not powerful enough.
And at this point, I'm gonna walk to just the threshold of the door and look both ways, starting to feel a little panicky. like somebody
Does
might
nobody trust Furia? No.
As you're looking, you don't see Fury anywhere.
I mean,
she just
Fair-
feels like maybe like Candlekeep is kind of on alert, or will be soon now.
Roswin.
it seems. I
Roswin,
mean,
come back.
maybe they don't.
Come back.
Reader, do you understand what I'm saying?
And you just get a string of gobbledygook, just baby talk, just nothing coherent.
I'm gonna heal him, though. Anyway, did we do that yet?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Just so it looks like we did something. I mean, just so it looks like we tried to help and not hinder anything. We don't want to clean up a little.
Right.
I mean,
Maybe wipe the
It's
blood
not-
from his ears.
Artemis, you said it wasn't permanent. So, maybe we just have to wait. Where? Or Furia's getting someone. She's pretty
I
fast.
don't know. Working on it.
Still kind of like fidgety.
Fairy is doing like triple flips in the air
I mean,
as she's.
I'm just going to basically be like making sure that the reader doesn't like hurt himself.
I'm gonna
Like he
cast-
doesn't like hit his head on something.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna cast Cure Wounds on him
Oh, okay.
for 16 points of healing.
Seeing as
Cast at level 2.
he
Oh, okay.
seemingly botched this contact planes or something to that degree with a ritual, is what I'm guessing he did. I'm going to snuff out the candles just in case there's no fire hazards.
Good idea.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'll wipe off his face a little, you know, just gently.
Yeah, and you can tell casting that definitely he does look better than he did.
Okay.
He's still like as you're casting it, reaching out, touching him. He's still pulling back and just babbling incoherently.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be like, alright. Be okay and be really soothing. Gonna kill you a little.
Rose, go ahead and make a. We'll call this an insight check.
Okay. 12.
Oh, okay. So as you're watching and sort of listening out, now what's your passive perception?
10.
Oh, okay. You're keeping your eyes on a swivel out at the door. You haven't heard anything as of yet. You don't hear like the upkeep like if you would expect if someone had like rung an alarm, you'd hear the footsteps of multiple people charging towards you or something like that. You're not hearing anything at the moment.
Okay.
But about this time, Furia, as you have been dashing this entire time, you arrive at the temple.
Great. I'll run in the temple too.
Okay. Where
Talk
is
to the
our-
first person I see that looks like they know what they're about.
Oh, okay. So, as you come charging in, you see a couple of the Avowed are in there. And as they look up in... Please slow down, you're in a temple.
That's sort of, like cartoons get to a stop. Yep. In front of a bunch of them. One of the readers, they failed at casting a spell and they've lost their minds. Some help would be greatly appreciated. I guarantee the reader can explain what's going on after, but it's a little complicated and, I mean, they're not in any immediate danger, but I can't help, so I came here.
Well, where is he? Bring him in. Of course we can help him.
He's over in his office. I mean, if you think it's not extremely urgent, we could carry him over, but...
Yes, the lawkeeper has not arrived as of yet this morning. He's still within his chambers. It would be easier if you could bring the affected individual to us. Or if you wish, you can wait and just sort of if you feel they are not in immediate danger, just shall we refer to it as babysitting them until we can send someone to you once the lawkeeper arrives.
Well, they are with the rest of my group. I'm sure they've got it under control over there. Yeah, we could stay over there with him as long as, we're okay. And you send somebody over as soon as you can. Do you know how long that would be?
As soon as the lawkeeper arrives, I'm assuming after he's bathed and eaten his morning meal. Shouldn't be more than an hour or so.
Is early. We could wait for an hour.
Gives a little nod. And which reader are we referring to?
I don't remember his name. He was a Gith.
Him, yes.
Yeah.
And I will send the lawkeeper over.
Thank you very much. And I'll jog back, not as not dashing necessarily, maybe like once every 2 or 3 sections of 6 dash. But not quite as quickly as I came.
Oh, okay. What would the rest of you be doing?
Panicking.
Fanning him? Maybe putting him on the ground with his feet elevated? I don't really know.
I do not. I have spells, but I don't want to just cast spells at the man. He didn't say that I could.
True.
Babysitting was probably a good term.
I mean, we'll see what Furia found when she gets back, and then go from there, I guess.
Is there a book near him? Like, on his desk, besides the cursed one?
Well,
It's not cursed.
Art took their book, well, the reader's book back.
Okay.
The reader has a bookshelf with numerous books on it.
What's about like yay big? About like an inch thick?
What are you going to do?
Oh, okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay.
I'm always so concerned about you.
You should be. 24.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. You do find a book there that's about the thickness you're looking for. Title of it is Heirs of the Mountain.
That's great. I would like to stick the book inside the reader's mouth.
Don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do.
Why are you
By the way.
hitting him?
Because I don't want him to bite his tongue. Because he's basically having a seizure.
Okay, go ahead and I'll
That's
say
exactly what you don't do when somebody's having a seizure.
Can I make a medicine check to stop Sarah?
No, but you
The
knowing
wrong
whether that's a good
treatment.
or a bad idea would not stop her from doing it. Sarah, go ahead and I will say make a... I'm going to call this as you're trying to push this into his mouth. Roll a d20 and add your strength modifier.
Yeah.
It's
Seeing
funny,
that
but
Lydia's gonna
people don't
kind
do
of
this.
try to push it away from his mouth.
So that's a natural 20, so a 19.
Oh god.
Okay, so even with...
Yep.
I love you, honey.
even with Lydia, even with you trying to block it and that... Basically using that as sort of beefing his AC, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is able to basically get this book as he's sitting there going. She basically takes the book and just shoves it into his mouth, and now he's sitting there going.
Oh,
As she's
Reader,
basically
you're
holding this
scary.
book in his mouth.
That's going to really make it look like we've done something to him.
Guess I would probably turn around when I notice the change in sound of his babbling. Like,
Well, if I put a piece of toast or something in his mouth from breakfast, he could choke on that.
Don't
You're not
put
supposed
it
to put
in
anything
his
in the
mouth! Reader, so spit it out.
I slap him on the back of the head.
No! Stop! You're abusing the man!
Grapple. I'm gonna grapple
always gonna
Sarah
have
at this point.
bruises, they're
Okay,
never going to
Granny,
believe
we're
us.
gonna leave the medicine to the medical students, and I'm gonna pick her up and take her somewhere else.
I'm a
It's looking
mystery
worse and worse
writer,
for
not
us.
a doctor.
Yeah, we
It
figured
is
that
also
out.
it is now much more apparent that you have not had children. I'm going to take the book out of his mouth and like take my handkerchief and like wipe his drool.
Is he still bleeding, or did Lydia cure that?
No, Lydia healed him, so he is
I
looking.
don't know.
He looks
stuffed
better.
a
He just
book in
still
his
looks
mouth
crazy.
and-
Feria,
back in the
please
bed,
come
come
back.
I'm working at it.
Yeah, I go back to the door like, where is Furia?
I should note that I should have run all the way back, but I have confidence in you guys not to screw up.
That's
So.
not-
Why do you have confidence in us? You're our one brain cell.
Well, logic cell.
I'm
Yeah.
counting on
No.
Murdoch.
No,
Excuse you.
You and
Rose,
Syria share
you know?
brain cells.
Would you lump me in with you?
Hey,
Yeah, please.
Ah. Okay. So, would anyone else be doing anything? Is Lydia's just sort of bodily removing Sarah from the area?
I'm not gonna
Run
cast
back.
a spell on. Yeah, I'm not gonna cast a spell on the reader. Or anything like that. I'm just gonna like.
Depending on how long Furia takes, I would do a sending spell. Be like, so what did you find out? Is there anything we could do to help him?
So realistically, her running all the way there, talking to them, and running back is probably going to take about 10-15 minutes.
Okay, okay.
So would you have cast a spell within that time frame?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and send your message.
Reader still cray. Make us look good. What should we do?
I wait a second just to make sure there's nothing else. And then you hear, babysit him. They will send somebody over in an hour. Not in trouble.
Good guys, don't. The level of anxiety, we can take it down a notch. Alright. Just sent a message to Feria. Gonna be okay. She's on her way back.
All right. Wonderful.
Okay, with help, I guess.
No, we're going to babysit
No.
him for an hour.
Hour.
And then help will
Really?
arrive.
Is
Yeah.
it safe to be like that for an hour?
Do they just not care about the fool, or like, are they just... Alright.
Maybe they don't.
I mean, I can take him to.
Do we?
Let's
Do
just
we
keep-
care? Yes, we do care, Rose.
Okay.
Wait, maybe we don't.
See?
I do.
Let's keep him in the room, so we don't have a first reader going blah, 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 down the halls. That would not be good.
That would kind
Why
of
do-
annoy the soldier man, and that would be amusing though.
Why don't Lydia? Do you have a calm emotion spell?
Yes, I do have that prepared.
All right. Why don't you or I just ease him so that he doesn't do anything?
Because it only lasts for
For-
1 minute.
We can. Oh, that's true. You know what? Reader, I am sure that you will not be upset about this after the fact. You might not even remember. I am going to just suggest to you, with some wonderful magical undertones, that for the rest of the day until you go to sleep, you just relax, be calm, and go about your day normally. But don't speak with anybody. Just retire to a study room and take it easy. And then go to the temple in about 7 hours. I'll cast suggestion.
Okay, so as you cast your spell, and you watch as the reader is staring at you as you're speaking, doesn't seem to have any effect.
I got nothing.
You get the as you're sort of watching the reader's face as you're saying this, you get the strong impression that he is not understanding anything that is coming out of your mouth.
Actually, hold on. Let me try something once more, because I'm very magical with how I can talk to people. I will do the same spell, but before that, I will use universal speech, which allows him to magically understand me regardless of our languages for an hour.
Okay.
I'm speaking directly into your mind now. Not really. It's not. I'm speaking directly to your soul. You're going to go to GameStop and you're going to get me Bambi on the PS2. No. I'm gonna suggest the same thing to him using my universal tongue.
Okay, so I will toss this out because I know I've got a couple of other DMs in here. So this is a specific side effect to contact other planes. When you fail your check, it literally states, cannot understand what other creatures say.
I'll read universal speech.
Yeah.
It says, you can make your speech intelligible to any creature. As an action, choose one or more creatures within 60 feet, up to my charisma modifier. The chosen creatures can magically understand you regardless of the language you speak for 1 hour.
Huh.
But he's not speaking a language, he's speaking gibberish.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it just
Right,
says
but it's-
regardless of it just says
yeah.
regardless of language. They understand.
Doesn't
I will allow
language
that.
usually go on like your intelligence?
Intelligence, yeah. Or
And he
like,
probably has like no intelligence because he's
Well, yeah,
It's not an
Blood-
impact to his
blood-
intelligence.
This would allow like animals and things to understand because it says regardless of language. It says they understand.
And this specifically, he hasn't lost intelligence. He's just...
Okay. Just out of it completely.
Yeah, as you complete your spell, the reader looks at you, gives a nod, gets up and walks away.
Wonderful.
Dude, where's he going?
Murdoch, should we be letting him out?
Yeah, no, he...
Babysit him.
No. He is going to just have a very nice day. He probably won't make sense of the fact that he's having a nice day, but he will.
We were told by the only person that went to the actual temple, the cleric, to babysit him for an hour. And now he's gone up and walked away.
He's just going to a study room. We can go there too. He's just going to be calm. He's not like walking off into the ocean.
Well, let's just go there where he's calmer. And maybe we will take him in an hour.
Of course. I was just going to use this opportunity to also make sure he didn't have anything fun and juicy in his office. But
I would
that's
like
just
to-
me.
I would like to look behind the desk. Are there
That's
any locked
interesting.
drawers?
Oh boy.
Oh, true. Did we cast Detect Magic when we walked into the office the first time?
Don't steal anything in Candlekeep.
No, you
please.
did
Oh,
not.
gosh.
I'm going to
And yes,
cast...
there is a locked desk drawer.
Oh, I'm gonna cast
boy.
detect magic in this room, because I'm worried actually about listening to voices. Scrying.
My order is still watching this guy, so I've been waiting for a moment to be in his office without him for a long time. I want to make sure that he's, like, being good. He's been very useful. But I also don't want to break into his stuff. He's been very nice.
Oh, okay.
Just make sure that everything that's not required to be broken into is on the up and up.
Okay, so real quick, Sarah. So there was a locked door. Are you trying to break into it?
I mean, I'm.
Just wait until I cast detect magic before you break into anything.
I just want to file it away for later.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
We're
okay.
not breaking into anything. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't, you know.
Well, you're not breaking into anything.
Yeah, and
Sarah, on the other hand, is not here.
Okay, let me just.
I give Lydia a muffin to earn
From-
her silence.
Thank you.
From a legal standpoint, Sarah is not me.
I
So
would like-
I could still. So I will go to the reader, and whatever happens in this room now that I've had the reader leave, happens. Plausible deniability.
did I
Like,
okay.
I could tell that Murdoch was like snooping a bit, I guess is the word.
Yeah. I
Or
mean, she
wasn't,
just,
like,
you know, she's
rummaging
like,
through stuff. Okay.
she's not like, she's not like opening his drawers and being like, but she was like, you know, never seen, you know, she's like, I've never seen a great reader's office up close.
Okay.
So, okay, is Murdoch, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Sure, yeah. Well, let's just see if he has like a random note here to the Zentarum saying to like kill people around. Wonderful. Okay, 15.
Oh, okay. And go ahead and make an Arcana check. Given what you do, I will say you do have advantage on this.
Ooh, an advantage Arcana. 17.
Oh, okay. On basically on this sort of wall shelf where you see a couple of bookends and he's got his what we're assuming is his personal books, you see a small multi-pronged metal object that you would recognize as a tuning fork.
But there's nothing. Is there when you use a tuning fork and it attunes to a specific plane? Does it get like? Do you etch it with runes to that? Is there a way to determine what, if any, plane it's attuned to?
I do not believe so. Let me just check here.
Maybe like an probably something identify would maybe be able, but not just by looking at it.
Check here.
Oh, you know, I bet it's to Limbo. I bet it's so he can go home. Because he had to get here somehow.
Yeah, it does not specify that anything would be, at least not what I can see quickly, so I'm going to say there's nothing marked on it.
I knew that the Gith Zerai are from Limbo, though, right?
Yeah.
Primarily.
Yeah, you would know it as either Limbo or the Far Realm, so.
And just in a mechanical sense, would that qualify for a plane shift spell? Does it qualify as a
Yep.
plane of its own? Okay. Interesting. Well, you'll probably find something interesting about that fork there. If, Artemis, if you remember, we ended up having to get one of those to be able to come back home. That is a tool to go to other worlds.
Yes.
An interesting thing. But whatever happens to it, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go check out the reader. You know, be responsible. Reader, wait up.
So as Murdoch is starting to walk away, and The reader
Sleepy
seems to
Murdoch's
have...
a little bit.
And actually,
slow.
Rose, you would have seen the reader, once they came out of the office, actually took off at a fair clip heading down the stairs. And real quick before we jump, because Furia is going to be back in just a moment or so, we have... Lydia, you cast Detect Magic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first thing you notice is that same, the tuning fork
Mm-hmm.
that the Murdoch was just looking at is glowing with an extremely weak conjuration aura to it. You do see something is glowing inside the reader's desk. As you sort of move around, you can see there is one drawer that does have a lock on it. Seems to be where the glow is coming from. And that is giving off... Where is my... Where is my note? Ooh, excuse me. Okay, that is... Huh. Where is my note? I'm sorry, trying to find my say little thing. This, I don't know what this would be, going off on. I'm gonna say this is giving off, it's sort of a, like a kaleidoscope of color. It's not really giving off a clear school of magic.
Is Rose still there? Okay. I'm going to whisper to Sarah. Opically? This never goes well on Fridays, I don't think. Opically? The roar drink, and I will leave behind Murdoch.
And I guess I don't hear this since it was whispered.
Yeah, because they're
I
over
tried.
by his desk and you're at the door.
Yeah, and I wasn't like listening in specifically for anything, so.
Yeah, so you probably have no idea as you're watching.
Okay.
As you can now see Murdoch sort of almost chasing down after the Great Reader.
I will casually stroll out and wink to Sarah. Really conspicuously. And leave. Casually. Very casually.
I confusingly wink back.
A nod excitedly.
I don't want to be involved with this. I'm gonna go too.
Sorry, it seems everyone has left you in the room alone at this point.
So I guess I see people like starting to file out. I'm still standing in the door frame. Do I have any sense of
I don't know. What does
something
Rose
possibly
what does
going
Rose
on,
think is
or-
going on?
Nothing unless I like picked up something with people walking out.
Well, nobody's left in there except for Sarah. Like,
Yeah, so I just kind of like turn,
not even the readers left in the room.
just turn and see Sarah left at this point. Like, we
Rosalind.
following too, or yeah,
What's an opic they?
a what?
Must be a Furbolg term or something.
Was something Lydia said? It's a what? Say it again.
Opic lay drawer bay. Ray? Opic lay.
I have no idea what that is supposed to mean.
neither. Anyway, I hand her a muffin from my purse.
So should we follow the others?
Now I
Or
want to
let
know
those-
what's in the drawer. What's in the drawer?
I'm gonna like head out the door and like go on next to Lydia. Like,
Wait up, Lydia.
Oh, good. You got it. And I'll wink down at her.
Got what?
got
It.
I kind of look back between the two of them, like, what?
I hold out a
What are you
muffin.
talking about?
Thanks,
It?
Granny. Yes, thanks, Granny. You definitely got it. I knew you would. And I'll eat the muffin.
Is your eye twitching?
No. And I'll wink.
I'll just keep walking.
I
Like,
think it's a
I don't know
go.
what the hell's going on.
I shrug at Rosalind.
I don't
That was
know.
weird.
She's winking at you, not me.
Yes, I am
You
winking
know.
at her. Why are you saying that out loud? Like you didn't know that was...
I mean, if you don't know, there's no way I'll know.
I feel like this conversation's going in a circle. Let's just go.
About this time, as we pan downstairs, as Murdoch, you are coming down the stairs to the entrance. And as you get down to the bottom of the stairs, you find you're in the building alone at this point. And coming in the front door is Furia.
I'm slightly out of breath. Wind blowing from the wind blowing in my hair, so I'm running. I look around. What are you doing down here? Where's the reader? Not upstairs still? Why aren't you with the reader?
I didn't want him to do anything unbecoming of himself.
Where is the reader?
He's going to a study room.
Why isn't he in his room? I asked you to babysit him for an hour.
I was
Somebody's going to
babysit-
come to his study in an hour to get him better.
Did I say?
Okay.
What did you do?
I suggested he go somewhere private so that he didn't
He was
embarrass
somewhere
himself.
private. He was in his office.
People go to his office all the time.
It's early in the morning. There's nobody around. I'm assuming he didn't make any other appointments because he had an appointment with us. All you had to do was stay there. Where is he now?
Well, Sarah was also shoving books in his mouth.
Well, didn't you just deal with
Slapping him in the
Sarah, not Reader? I told them that he would be in his office. They were going to send their best guy in an hour there.
Okay, they
You just
didn't.
had to be
It wasn't
patient
specified
and
to be-
wait.
It wasn't specified to me that he was going to be staying in. That they were coming to his office. I just heard babysitting.
You could have asked. You have that fancy sending spell of yours.
I figured Lydia portrayed the full message.
You only have 25 words. It's not very many. Where is he now? We need to get him back to his office.
He's going to the study room. Like we can just have him go back to the study
Do I
room.
see the reader anywhere in sight?
Neither of you do.
Wait, he
Where
was like.
is he?
I know you said he was quick, but like he's faster than me.
He was given the instructions he was given. Yeah, he was moving.
I told him to be calm
Oh no.
and relaxed.
Go
How does
ahead
the
and I will say,
transit just
Murdoch, make an
sprint?
intelligence check.
Oh God, it's me. It's me for once. I was just trying to have him chill out.
Hearing
Don't leave.
Furia like upset, I'm gonna just like I assume we're going down like the spiral
Yeah, the
staircase.
rest of you at this point are all sort of coming down the stairs. You've got
I'm gonna halt and like put my arms out so Rose and Granny don't get any further. Cause I assume Art's like a couple.
Art's probably a good like 20, 30 feet ahead of you already.
Yeah, so I'm
Or
gonna
we just
stop
like
them.
walk under your arm.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop both of them and be like,
What was your check, Murdoch?
13.
So You would remember from just your recent excursion that there are hidden doorways that lead to different rooms and whatnot all throughout Candlekeep.
I was just trying to get him to go sit somewhere and read a book nicely.
And he is
What
following
up?
your instructions. It's just, unfortunately,
Where
he's probably
is-
gone through a doorway that you're unaware of or can't see.
The reader.
Probably used a secret passageway to go to a private reading room.
You know, the one time I try to help out and I leave you all to take care of the one easy person that's not moving anywhere, you mess it up. You know what? I'm going to the inn. You guys can clean this mess up. I'm done. You know what? I'm just done. And I'm gonna
This is
leave.
like the first time in like
I'm out. I'm gone.
forever. Message spell. This is like the first time in forever that
Oh my
I've
God.
ever like made a mistake, and I was just trying to get him to go somewhere more private because I figured people go to his office all the time.
I'm gonna back up the stairs with Granny.
You don't get a response. Fairy's out.
Where
She's
are we going? Lydia, where are we going?
And as Furia walks
where's-
out, that's where we're going to take our break this evening.
Oh, come on. I was trying to be helpful.
You had one job.
Babysit.
How was I supposed to know
Yeah.
telling him to be calm and go to a study room and read a book was going to be that he
Suggestion.
full sprinted? He has to follow my suggestion. That he was going to full sprint into a secret passageway.
He's power walking.
He is
Yeah.
right.
Literally, he's power walking, and they're, oh, my little hidden hiding reading room's right over here. Just duck right in here and poof. So we will be back in a few minutes, folks. Gonna top off our
Literally-
drinks and things and see how our
I'm
party
sure-
figures this out.
I'm sure everyone else knows where his study room
We
is.
lost a person.
When people
Well,
lose
the thing
time-
is,
I feel like that merits it again.
well, the thing is, the end of my suggestion spell was in 7.5 hours go to the temple. So
Oh.
Which is strange because I told you they would come in an hour, so I
You
don't know
didn't
why
know
you
that.
did 7. Yeah, no, I told Lydia in the sending,
Lydia didn't
I?
say they were coming in an hour. it Said watch him for an hour. I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna give you the rest of the message when I arrived,
Yeah.
which would have been in like another 5 minutes.
I think we all need to go
Managed
on
to
a.
lose a whole person. In
We-
We'll be
5
back in just a few,
We need
folks,
to
as we
go
top
on-
off our drinks.
Team building. That's the next part of the
Team building
campaign.
exercise.
Yeah.
It was the
Okay,
one
we're off
time
here.
I decided.
back, everyone, to our slightly confusing situation we find ourselves in within Candlekeep. Our party was playing a game of magical telephone, and bits of the information got misplaced, we'll call it. So our party has had a meeting with the Great Reader. He followed Art's instructions, attempted to cast a spell, and unfortunately botched it. He's gone a little, insane, and after being beaten in the face with a book, as Sarah attempted to force feed him a book to keep him from swallowing his tongue, and when the book was removed, she proceeded to then smack him in the back of the head. So Lydia removed her. Murdoch decided it would be in the best interest if the reader just went to a quiet study room, sat there and read, and then later on today go see the clerics at the temple. Furia has arrived and advised as the clerics will be here in an hour. Apparently that part of the message got missed as
Paraphrasing.
some words were shared and Furia has walked off. With Murdoch's last words being sent via magical communication, to which Furia did not reply. So we will pick up first with Murdoch and Artemis. As Art, you would have been coming down the stairs right at the base as this whole sort of somewhat heated exchange happened.
So would I have seen the first reader dip into a Disney-esque secret door in the wall and just
No, this is something that happened even basically when they left the room and started going down. This is something that happened with it very quickly.
Okay.
And this goes to Murdoch as Murdoch was taking off and now thinking about it after the conversation, not just sort of charging down the stairs trying to catch up. Murdoch, you would probably, as you were thinking about and realizing these sort of hidden doorways that are throughout Candlekeep, you would have the thought that it was probably very near
His office.
his office.
Well, I gotta go fix my problem, You make a duty, you clean it up. I was probably sitting, I probably sat on the stairs and thought for a bit. Said that and went, well, Fury said she's not fixing it, so I gotta fix my problem. Gotta be a responsible adult. So I'll go. It was me this time. Are we what?
Is everything okay? I heard some shouting. / saw a little bit of it.
I shouldn't use magic while I'm tired. I've made a mistake. It turns out the clerics are coming within the hour. That's why we were supposed to babysit for an hour. So
Right.
I need to go. Could you help me? I think the reason why he immediately got out of sight is that he probably has a secret study chamber somewhere near his office. Would you mind helping me see if we can find the entrance to it, just so that we can direct the priests so that this problem can be fixed? I tried to do a responsible thing and it backfired horribly in the way that magic does that normally I'm better about, and I feel bad.
Can't be any worse than how it backfired for him. Yes, I will help.
I was trying to save him a bit of embarrassment. I don't think he'll be embarrassed. I think I'm the one embarrassed, but let's see if we can find them. Maybe pull a torch sconce or something. Let's see if we can find, close by his office. Let's look in the immediate area.
Right.
Back up the stairs we go.
Oh, my knees. All right.
Mine too.
So as the two of you start heading back up the stairs, what are the three of you who were on the stairs?
I'm apparently being led back upstairs by Lydia. who's speaking in tongues.
Who is muted?
Mute.
Sorry, I was leading Granny back up the stairs.
Okay, where to? What's the
The
goal?
office. The office, just to pretend we didn't hear the kerfuffle.
No, just heading back up to the office? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess in my mind, for some reason, I'm imagining a spiral staircase as like only just wide enough for one person, but
Oh, I was picturing like a big one.
Yeah, me too.
I was picturing
It's
like maybe a
realistically,
10,
it's
15
probably wide enough for about 2, maybe 3 people.
Yeah.
okay,
But
so
it's one of those
like,
where you're typically not going to be 3 people wide because there is no railing on the outside.
yeah, so it's like it's pretty. I have to like almost get out of the way, of Lydia, just to allow them to backtrack.
You
Well, no,
were
you'd
in
be able to
front with us.
stand 2 side by side. The 3 of you
Okay.
could all
Yeah.
fit on the stairs.
Okay.
But who's ever on the outside, so there's the outside wall, the stairs, and then that inside is just a massive hole.
Yeah.
So if
okay,
Lydia
I
grabbed you and tossed you into the middle, you would drop to the bottom.
right. Yeah. Okay.
So that's why typically you'd be going up at 2. There's enough room for you
Okay.
to move around easy, but
Yeah, I had this image of just being like wide enough for one that I got locked into, but guess I see them like, oh, you're heading back up?
I suppose I am. Where are we going?
To avoid our problems and confrontation.
Very mature.
Oh, I'm good at that.
I
Yeah,
guess
me too.
did we fully catch up with the rest of the group, or
no, they're on their way back up now. So as Lydia's trying to guide the 3 of you back up, you can see Murdoch and Art starting to come up the stairs.
I guess I'll just head with Lydia and Sarah, just kind of get pulled in their direction and
Okay.
follow them.
So as a group of you are heading back upstairs, we're going to pan real quick over to Furia, who is currently heading towards the hearth. And then apparently, Furia, you said you're taking a pit stop?
Yeah, halfway there. You know, because I'm just walking slowly, trying to just cool down after yelling at Murdoch for what happened. I sort of have a change of heart, and well, I should go update the people at the temple. They could probably help better, so we're not, you know, rummaging through all the people in the offices. So I'll start changing course and walk to the temple. You are muted again.
Thank you. Easy enough to stop by. Those same 2 individuals are still in there. They're still getting ready for the morning services. You see you come back in?
Hi.
Back again?
You remember me?
Oh, yes, it's only been but 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, so, I ran all the way here. I told you what was going on. I told you that my party members were with him and keeping him okay. Well, I made it all the way back, and it turns out I should have sent one of them to get you instead of leaving all of them with the reader, and now, by the time I got back, they lost him. I'm not sure what happened, but, I don't know where he is. They don't know where he is. They assure me that he was probably safe. But I don't know what to do. And I thought I'd come and update you. You know, because he's an important person.
You see the 2 of them sort of glance over at each other. And then... Where's my... I go back and forth a little bit in very hushed tones to each other. Then same one looks back over to... you said they lost him. How does one lose?
I mean, when I was on my way back, I was in contact with them. I told them, you know, all we have to do is wait an hour. By the time I made it to the door, he was gone. I don't know how it happened. Maybe you can go talk to one of them. I sort of yelled at them and then I left before I did something worse. I didn't want to start a fight. You know, calm voices, sane conversation is the key here. And I wanted to, leave before it got out of hand.
And the one who'd been talking with you just gives a couple of nods, gestures at the other one, and you watch the two of them, and one who's been talking. I'll take the walk over and see what they can tell me.
When I left, I think they were trying to look for him, but
I'll just hope they don't get themselves into trouble.
I'm going to be in the inn if you need me, cooling down a little bit more. You can find me there if you need more information or help. I'll just sort of sidle out.
And he follows almost right beside you as you're heading out, and then as you head towards the end, he takes off the other way, heading towards the Great Reader's office.
Yeah, I'll go over to the inn and order a drink.
Okay.
Just spend my time in there.
Yeah, so as that's going on, we pan back over to the other 5. At this point, eventually have made their way back, and everyone's sort of standing outside of the Great Reader's office, in that sort of waiting area you were in.
All right. So, Artemis, what I'm assuming. Oh, hello everyone. Who wants to help me look for a secret door?
I look at Lydia.
Was that what you were asking me to do?
In the office?
I was
or-
asking you to go for the secret drawer.
Oh yeah. What was it?
The
Akle?
drawer.
What?
Not the door, the drawer.
Everyone! If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap once. If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap twice.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
The reader, upon leaving the office, I thought that he was just going to go to a public study room. I made a mistake. I made an oopsie. Will someone please help me fix it? I think he used a secret passage somewhere by his office. I would like to find him and return him to his office so I can tell Furia that we have fixed the problem. Who will help?
I don't know how much help I can be, but I'll try.
I can help you, but you have to promise not to get mad at me.
I'm gonna go over to the drawer.
That is not in any way related
You made
to
a
what
promise!
I didn't. I literally didn't.
I'd like
That's true.
I'd like to pick the lock.
Don't. Sarah, stop.
Oh, is that what you were asking about?
Sarah.
Lydia
Stop.
told me to.
We're not.
I'm going to start
I mean, you
pulling
didn't-
on some nearby sconces if there are any.
Okay.
I'm going to. Lydia, are you going to help look for a secret door?
I can't cast detect magic again today if that's what you're asking.
You have eyes.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I don't remember. Correct me if this is the wrong campaign, but doesn't Lydia have a magic item that can help with this?
Oh! I knock, shave, and a haircut on the wall.
Oh.
Very good. I forgot I had that.
I am.
It's not in my D&D Beyond first, but it's in my roll 20 sheet, I believe.
Oh, do you have a
Shave and a haircut. Yep. It has to wrap back.
Well, okay, so we got a couple things going on here. So first we're going to start with Sarah. Sorry, Sarah. Give me a Thieves' Tools check.
What do I roll for that?
So it would be D20 plus your dexterity modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay. So
It's probably like the same as like what your plus to hit with a dagger is.
Okay, so you said dexterity plus proficiency plus modifier?
Nope, so a d20 plus your dexterity modifier plus your proficiency bonus. What's your dexterity modifier?
I found it, so
Okay.
I'm just doing the math. It's gonna be a 14
Oh, okay.
altogether. Did I do it?
So, and then for Rose, Murdoch, Lydia, and Art, I want all four of you to make perception checks for me.
I will give the people that are helping me do what I actually want done bardic inspiration.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
I got
And
a
I
nat 20.
Okay,
got
so
a 2.
what was yours, Rose?
A 2.
Oh.
Okay, do you want to use where you're helping? Well, are you helping Murdoch, or are you just?
I hadn't started to help yet, so
Okay.
I can't.
So you've got a 2. Art, what was yours?
Nat 20.
Oh, okay. So what's your total?
Good question. 25.
Oh, okay. Lydia, what's yours?
1.
Okay. Murdoch?
Straight 10.
Oh,
But I
okay.
can roll higher. I should roll that bardic inspiration.
Yeah, anyone who... so Art and Lydia, you can roll that Bardic Inspiration if you want, if you're unsure, if you're nervous about whether or not that your roll is high enough.
Murdoch, a D8.
It's a D8. Yeah, I mean, you should get that roll as high as possible. I would really like to find this man because it makes me look bad.
Plus 5, so 26.
Okay. And Art, are you sitting with your 25, or are you rolling that D8 as well?
I mean, sure.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll roll it. I mean, okay. 2.
Okay.
27.
So, Art and Lydia, you two hear two things. As you're, Lydia, as you're using your little object there, about 15 feet back down the stairwell, you hear two raps come from the wall.
Down the stairs.
And a moment later, you hear a strange sound come from the reader's office.
Or maybe not.
And as we flash back over to Sarah, as you are picking the lock and you hear as the lock unlocks, you watch as it starts to glow and then a flash of light. As it was in fact trapped.
Oh yeah, that's...
Lydia.
As your vision comes back to you, you're not in Dodge anymore. You don't see the office. You don't see anyone.
Oh no.
What do I see?
I just wanted to find the door, dude.
You actually don't have dark vision. You don't
No.
see. You can't. It is just black.
I'm gonna like take my glasses off, try and clean them on my skirt, put them back on. Nope. I've gone blind.
And I would have been standing like at the doorway to the office, so I just see Sarah disappear.
If you're
Okay,
looking
good.
into the office, yes, you saw Sarah bent over behind the desk and then nothing.
just kind of like in shock for a second. Then I run in, I'm like, Sarah? Sarah? Like, oh no.
As you sort of go around the desk to where she was, you can see that one of the drawers still has 2 metal lockpicks stuck into a lock on it, and it's now open about an inch or so.
Guess I wouldn't really have a lot of knowledge to know, like, if this trap is, like, sprung and basically, like, inert at this point. Wouldn't really know that.
Hard to say.
I don't know what to do.
You know, Rose, I think we'll pan back out to Artemis, Lydia, and Murdoch. Murdoch, the 2 of them have gestured down the stairwell a little ways that they located the door.
Oh, thank gods. Alright, let's see if we can just get him out, and
Sound
I
did
will-
we hear from the office? You said it was a strange sound.
Yeah, it's... Best way that I can describe it is think of, like the sound of, if you remember, like old cathode ray TVs, like the old CRT tube TVs, when you turned it on and you heard that, it sort of powered up, and then when you turned it off, it's the same sort of like,
Hey, knowing Granny's in there, I would probably be like, yeah, down there, and I'll run up, Granny, Granny, are you okay up there?
as you go up and turn to look in, you see Rose over by the desk. No Sarah.
Where did she go?
She's gone. I don't know where she
She's
is.
gone.
She tried to open the drawer here, and then I heard the flash of light and a noise, and she's gone. I don't know.
Alright. Can I do?
I mean, should we open the drawer? I don't even know what's
I'll
in it.
touch
Is
the
it?
drawer because I want to go wherever Granny is.
As you touch the drawer, nothing happens.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's unlocked. It's open about a half an inch or so.
Well, what's in it? I mean, if it's safe to touch, let's see what's in it.
Doesn't mean it's safe to touch.
Oh, all right.
Is it like in a box? I'll just pocket it for now, and then I will.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Ooh, not 20.
Okay. So, as you're looking into it, you can see it appears to be a small necklace. It has a very beautiful, looks to be like a turquoise colored gem. If you've played the old Sonic the Hedgehog games, picture Chaos Emerald cut.
Ooh.
What was you said your perception check was a nat 20?
Yeah, 28.
Okay. There's something inside the gem. Looks to be a halfling. With glasses.
Do I see a giant verbal face?
A giant,
Yes.
giant.
As you're looking out, you can see as the drawer's been opened and light is now cascading down into it. Again, you can sort of everything outside on your sides behind you is sort of like this gray, almost fog. As you're looking out directly in front of you, though, you can, again, picture sort of looking through a car windshield with rain pouring down on it when you're not using your wipers. Everything's that sort of almost wishy-washy look. You would probably recognize Lydia's face.
Oh,
As she,
Lid.
as Lydia pulls it out of the drawer, like, is that?
Oh, I don't. Rose, can you keep a secret?
Should we keep this secret?
This turned into a shit show, not gonna lie.
I'm waving at Lydia. Like, Lydia!
She's waving.
Hello!
I won't take my hand away back. Hello. I'm gonna try to dispel magic on the pendant.
Okay. You are going to need to roll for it.
I know I have to roll for it. That's not one. So that first attempt's gonna fail.
Yep. And while you're there, we're going to pan back over to Murdoch and Artemis. So, the two of you are heading down to the doorway.
I'm sure. I want to find the reader.
Okay.
Let's.
So,
All right, Artemis, show me where.
Okay. They'll kind of like a little bit slower, cause this has been a real stairmaster. They're gonna go towards where the door knocked back.
yep. Yeah, and easy enough with your check, you know exactly where that sound came from. So go ahead, either both of you make investigation checks, or one of you can make it with advantage. You're working together. Up to you two.
I'll help you.
Sure.
All right, you've got advantage then.
Same thing.
Another natural 20?
10.
No.
Oh.
Two tens.
For.
So that's your total is 10, or you rolled a 10?
Total.
Oh,
10.
okay.
So you rolled 2 5s. Investigation.
6.
6.
Okay, so it takes Art, even though you know where the door is and the two of you are working together, it takes the two of you probably about 5 minutes as you're going through and basically hitting every brick and spot on here to find the little that
hate
one
secret
proper
doors.
spot.
somewhere.
Oh, wait. The reader is probably taller than you. The reader is taller than you. It's probably one of the higher up ones that you can't. Hold on.
That makes sense.
I'll tap the ones higher up.
And all of a sudden you hear a very light just as the door
Dang it.
flickers and
Okay.
swings open only about halfway. And as you sort of look in, you can see the reader is sitting there and just
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Okay.
has some book in front of them.
Okay. Fairy is not going to be mad at me anymore. I'm going to fix my problem. It's something I care about very much. Reader. Hi. My universal speech lasts for an hour, so I think you should still understand me.
Looks a little over the jumps a little and
Sorry. I didn't know you had a secret passage study room. I made a mistake. I would like to, let's just edit this a little bit. Could you just read this book and wait in your office, because someone is going to be coming to see you to fix what you accidentally did to yourself.
okay. He gives a little bit of a nod and picks up the book and starts heading back towards his office.
Does the turquoise gem look like my turquoise gem?
You mean the Lydia's?
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay.
Nope.
one thing down.
I don't know that that's happened up there, but so I send a sending spell to Furia and I go, Furia, I found him. I sent him back to his office. It's going to be fine. I'm very sorry. But I fixed it.
You hear back. Person from temple on their way to help.
Okay. Perfect. Now we can all just wait in the office and this will all be fine. Let's go back. I will close his little secret door.
Yep. So we'll pan back over to Rose and Lydia.
I would like to roll for Dispel Magic again.
Oh, okay. As you're attempting to cast it again.
17.
Let me check this moment here. And you cast it again.
Yeah.
It does not seem to have any effect on it.
God. So,
Lydia, you
I
said
know what
keep
this
this.
is.
You asked about secrets. Did you mean keep this secret that Sarah's stuck in a gemstone?
I'm thinking.
You can hear people coming up the stairs now, Lydia.
Alright, I'm gonna try this because my spell magic doesn't seem to be working. Can you hear me? Quick!
Can I hear her?
You do not hear anything. You can see that she seems to be... You can see the mouth moving, but...
Hi, Lydia. How are you?
Rose, do we know
I
what
don't think so,
season
Lydia.
from?
She's not really responding.
No. Oh god. I can't do that. Not to her. Alright, I'll try Dispel Magic first level. And I'll roll
Do
again.
what?
Oh, okay. You've got... This is last one before before they
I know.
arrive.
19. 11
19's
plus-
what you needed.
Oh my god.
We're gonna come in and be like, hello, everyone.
Where have you been? I've been waiting here.
As you cast your enchantments, you watch as you feel the magic sort of radiate out from you, and you watch as this small gemstone starts to spiderweb, and small cracks start appearing in it.
Good.
Sarah, as you're saying this, you can feel this. Basically, it feels like you're standing in a telephone box or an outhouse. It's just this tiny little cramped space.
Oh, this
All of a sudden, it starts vibrating. You can hear this sort of high-pitched whine as the walls and ceiling, the floor you're standing on, all start to crack around you.
In a panic.
And all of a sudden, Lydia, to you, you hear a very tiny as this gem shatters.
Oh good.
Sarah, to you, it sounds like a bomb going off as this is just all around you.
I would like to hit the deck.
As you dive for the ground, you find yourself on the ground, normal-sized, cowering at Lydia's feet.
Oh, I should have trained more with Snowbird now.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm glad to have you back. I'm gonna shove everything into the drawer, close it, take the keys out, give Granny a hug, dust her off, and say, never mind, now's not the time. Okay, I'm gonna pat her on the head twice.
And as you pat, Murdoch turns the corner.
We found him.
Nothing.
Oh, good.
Everything is going to be okay.
Splendid.
Oh,
Oh, it's a candle night
Yeah,
miracle.
nothing to report from our end. So
So everything is going to be perfectly fine, and no
Yep.
one's going to get mad at us, and we're not going to be kicked out of Candle.
Nope.
You know what my favorite thing is? Not touching anything.
Kinda
Good. I'm glad.
elbow her a little bit, like.
I'm happy that you're learning.
I'm
I'm
going
just
to ignore that.
I'm just happy that I fixed my problem because I don't make mistakes often, so I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm gonna set a muffin on the reader's desk, and then I'm gonna just go to each of my party members and go like muffin, 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 muffin.
You know, with
See-
all the stairs that I've been up and down, I will actually accept this and eat this.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
Artemis is eating.
Furia says that actually someone from the temple is coming right now.
Oh, Grant, can I slide my hand back in the drawer stealthily, or slide up handy?
But you close the drawer, you'd have to try to open it.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Ah, crap.
It's
'Cause I was gonna try to mend it, but nope.
oh well. If the meh.
Yup.
Look, all of you. For once, it's on me. For once this time, it's on me. So why don't you all just? You all can just go get.
Okay.
You can go get drinks. I'm sure Furia would like to not have to see me for like a couple more minutes. I'll stay here with the reader and I'll wait until the temple people arrive, and I'll
Look,
smooth everything over.
But I
Don't
mean,
be such a martyr and so hard on yourself, Murdoch. You're doing the best you can.
Artemis, you should probably stay to explain
yeah,
the
that's
book
what I was going
and,
to.
Yeah.
and your leg and rest your legs. But the rest of you, you should just. I mean, it's what 10 a.m. You should just go relax. I'll smooth all of this up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kind of like tug. And like Sarah's sleeve, like, let's go.
I give Artemis an extra muffin before I leave.
Thank you.
We'll just sit here with the reader.
Sit.
Oh, okay. So the rest of you are heading.
Mending spell.
Hmm?
Just for fun, do either of you have mending? The mending spell.
You
well,
know,
I could.
I thought of, no, I don't, but I
No,
thought about it.
just casual cantrip talk from us magic users to each other. Bye!
I look at Rose like, I don't know about magic, but I sure can mend a broken.
Come on, Granny.
Oh!
You know, I lean over to Art. You know, when I was younger, a lot of people say that I could mend a broken heart. I didn't see what they meant by it, though. I was mostly working.
Is that a saying?
Mend a broken heart? It's at least, I think, an idiom.
Idiom.
Yes. Which is like a saying.
Today has been a long day, and it's only been a few hours.
I think you all are rubbing off on me.
Not even a few hours.
I mean, there's some good things to that. Maybe
There are.
there's some not so good.
Well, I don't like being yelled at by Furia. That's actually, if I may use a little bit of crass language, freaking terrifying.
No, she can be very scary. Yes, I know. I agree.
I've never wanted to impress someone more than probably when I was a child and tried to clean the entire room to make my mother happy with me. She was happy with me regardless, but it's the similar feeling. Outside of being yelled at, in all the panic and everything, it was kind of fun. And she kind of like nestles in her chair a little bit. I hope that the reader has a good sense of humor.
Me too.
Oh, dear.
I mean, technically he started it.
That's what I was saying.
Technically, reader, you did start it. And I mean, you were never in any danger. I told you to go read, but you used a secret passage. Oh, you're funny.
We're in the little office space, yeah, or are we still kind of like?
You're in his office proper.
I'm gonna go put that book back that Sarah shoved in his mouth. Also check it for, I don't know, bite marks.
There is a little bit of like a little bit of moisture on the spine from where Sarah tried to force feed it to him.
It's like licking it.
As you know, anytime you get something shoved across like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was any long-term damage. It was only in there a couple of moments before Murdoch and Lydia were able to stop Sarah from trying to force feed him an entire book.
Murdoch, if it's any consolation, I don't think it was a big whoopsie. It was easily fixed.
In the grand scheme of things, I know that, but also, since I've dedicated so much of my life to making other people not have to worry, that's like what I do. Making a situation worse makes me feel terrible. I will never study and not get a proper 8 hours sleep again.
Duly noted.
But
What?
About this time... Oh,
Oops,
go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I was just going to ask what they were studying, but that's fine.
can I answer that, or are they coming in now?
Oh, they're just about to come up, but yeah, you guys still have another moment or two if you want it.
I was studying more on the hells and contracts. You know what I normally learn about. Did I ever... My goodness, I think I only ever told Snow Moon. Did I ever explain to you why I do my job?
I pulled some context clues from hither and yon, but I'm guessing it has something to do with keeping devils and demons where they need to be. But
It's about keeping everyone where they need to be and making sure they go back to where they need to be.
no,
And I mean, you can tell from my... You know, I'm not a full Dragonborn. We've been over this. I am a tiefling. So, devils have had play in my life. But, one of my mothers is currently imprisoned within the city of Dis, within the fourth lair.
oh,
So, I know that's really big to drop on you just right now, but I told it to Snow Moon over tea. I do what I do so that I can get very good at dealing with these sorts of things, so that one day, hopefully soon, I can go get her back. Much like how we got your mother back.
yes, of course.
And I think that day is actually getting closer. But don't be concerned. It's been a thing for quite a long time, and she is where she is. But that's what I was researching.
Interesting. Oh, well, I mean, thank you for trusting me with that.
I'll bring it up more properly with the rest of the group because, like I said, Snowmoon was the only one that knew, and well,
Yeah.
he was never quite super talkative anyway. He was a bit stoic. Oh,
And as you
Here they
say
come.
that, you can hear footsteps coming around the corner, and a somewhat surprised young gentleman looks at... Oh, it appears you have located the Great Rita.
yes, I'm so sorry. He utilized some sort of passageway to just go to a private study room. It actually was just a little bit down the stairwell, but brought him back.
And the other member of your... No, but your other associate mentioned he had attempted to cast a spell and something went awry.
I look at Art.
Yeah. He attempted to contact another plane and did a bit of a whoopsie, and something didn't connect right. And he kind of came back to consciousness. I believe someone said lights on, nobody home.
It's the third time this month.
You know, that actually clears stuff up. We thought that you guys just didn't really like him, and we were very confused, but I'm glad to know that this happens often.
He keeps attempting to reach out. It's all about some fool book he's been trying to interpret. Keeps on casting that spell, and occasionally he gets out and asks questions and gets useless answers. And other times he casts it and apparently fries all the connections in his head.
Huh.
And it lasts about a day. Once he gets a good night's sleep, he tends to pop back round. But
That's good to know.
But are you able to are you able to restore him?
oh, me personally, no. We have the lawkeeper once he arrives this morning as the what do the clerics call it? Some advanced form of restorative magic that they can cast.
So should we wait? Should we continue to wait here with him?
No, feel free to leave. I can sit and wait. The lawkeeper will be here shortly, and we can sit with him until they arrive. You can see a very slight, almost smile starts to play on the mouth. We wouldn't want you to lose them again.
That's true. All right. Well, Gregorator, we're going to go. Are your legs rested?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the stairs. Get my cane.
And we will pan as the two of you start heading back out. And we'll pan. So, Lydia, Sarah, and Rose. Would you have been heading back to the hearth, or like how far would you have gone as you started to leave?
Well, as soon as we were like outside of earshot of Murdoch, I would just be like,
So I was inside the necklace?
Yes,
Yeah, and
tried to.
see you, but it
I
didn't
had to
seem
break
like
it.
you could hear us.
Oh god, we're gonna get a water on our head or something.
No, I think what you were saying before about secret, I don't think anyone really needs to know about this.
Until he goes into a drawer and checks and notices it's broken.
Maybe
Lydia.
we'll be,
I
Maybe
can
we
mend
can-
it.
just be away from here by then.
Sure.
Lydia, the next time you magically see something that's openable,
We're not touching it.
Oh, is
no.
that what you were trying to
No.
talk about around me
Maybe.
before?
Yes.
Secrets?
Oh.
Yeah, secret.
I mean, you didn't have to hide it. I wouldn't have
No,
really
no
cared. But...
relationships here, Rose, with you here now. It's a good thing that you're here because we would need someone to confide in with our plans and friendship. What equality?
Why would we need plans when nothing happened, Lydia?
That too. Let's go get muffins.
You're right. I am all out of muffins. I would like to.
Is there like, do I feel like there's still something going on here that I'm like not privy to?
Rose, have a muffin.
Go ahead and make an insight check, Rose.
Like the stick a muffin inside of
Oh,
her.
that's a 3.
Oh no.
Have a muffin.
Oh,
Blueberry. Good.
I'll take it, but I don't start eating it right there.
Okay. So eventually, as the group of you start heading out, we will pan over to Furia. And you have been relaxing at the hearth. Is there anything you'd be doing other than just sort of chilling out, having a beverage?
That's pretty much it. I'm not getting drunk or anything, just enjoying myself, not having to stress out about everything that's going on in the tower. Treating it like a vacation, kind of. Waiting for another message or for people from the temple to come by or for my party to make it back.
Okay.
I'm just chilling.
A little bit of time goes by, and eventually Rose, Lydia, and Sarah arrive. And then a few minutes later, Murdoch and Art, following behind, arrive. And the remainder of the day is yours at this point, at least for a little while.
Sick of books.
So, Art, are you still going to get parts of that book written down for you?
I don't know what this little, I suppose it's somewhat of a coupon that he gave me. I don't know if that applies to the book that I took back, and it is in my possession still, or, he's probably going to come looking for that, huh?
Well, eventually, but you should still take advantage of what he gave you while you can.
Oh, absolutely.
It might take some time. Well, it's going to take some time.
I think what I'm going to do for right now, though, is actually, going to jot down some notes about what is in the book currently that I can read.
It's not a bad idea.
Would that be suspicious at all to do here?
Like sitting, just sitting at the table at the hearth?
Yeah.
No, you're allowed to take notes notes from the books. You're just not allowed to copy things. If they think you're copying things word for, like, basically if you're plagiarizing the book right in front of them and they catch you, they're not going to be happy. But if you're taking notes from it, it's completely allowed.
Okay.
I probably do that then.
Oh, okay. So Art's starting to jot notes down. What would the rest of you be doing?
I don't know. I don't want to touch nothing.
Yep.
I'm thinking of making another request for a book. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to read the book or if they even have it, but I'd like to know. If you guys are all not going to get into any more trouble without me. Pointed look at Murdoch.
No, I am not using any more. I should probably just take a nap because clearly I'm not responsible with my magic. Slept. So maybe I'll just do that.
Well, you did find him again.
Yeah, I won't get into any trouble, so.
I don't think my heart could handle more trouble.
Well, Rose, I think out of all of us, you've gotten into the least trouble.
No,
Guess,
my perfect record.
Not a lot for
I
me
mean,
to
even I've
get
gotten into trouble.
in a big library here. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
Lydia, anything you'd be doing? You're muted.
Just trying to not look at anyone in the eyes.
Could I make a passive, I guess, I mean, I already have a passive perception, but like a passive insight to see if I notice Lydia acting kind of weird?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Well, what is your passive insight?
So my passive insight is a 14.
Lydia, go ahead and make a, we'll call this either a deception or a performance check.
Got a natural 20. Natural 20.
Yeah, she seems to be okay at the moment.
All right. Yes, I'm gonna head out over to the glass doors.
Oh, okay. And I'd guard over there. Looking for a book or looking for your guide to bring you in?
I think it would be a little bit more efficient if I could go in.
Oh, okay, I can summon your guide. It'll be a couple of moments, but we'll have someone right here for you.
Thank you.
So that's happening. We've got Murdoch's thinking about taking a nap.
She will probably just fall asleep.
I think I'm gonna go with Furia as well. And I think I have an author to do a little research on.
Oh, okay. Rather than they're getting guides for the two of you to help you out. Art's taking notes, and Lydia's just trying to avoid everybody.
Actually, I'll duck out to after Elby and look just in general for like Elven Pantheon stuff.
Okay, so you're so
Not
you're
like
gonna go
anything
in.
specific. Like
Are you
going
having
to-
them bring you books, or are you trying to go in and wander?
I'll have them bring me a book, so I
Okay.
won't go in after Furia and Granny.
Oh,
I'll
Yeah,
just kind of stick to the edges.
I'm gonna ask directly to be shown the
okay.
books.
So
Or
as the party
brought
starts
the
to
books.
break apart and go take care of their separate tasks, that's where we'll call an end to tonight's session. As the party has successfully found the reader, unfortunately triggered a trap on the reader's desk drawer that caused our young halfling friend to be imprisoned via a 9th level imprisonment spell
Oh my
Oh, you
god.
called me young?
within a small gemstone.
Oh my god.
Too late.
But it was dispelled, shattering the gemstone and freeing said halfling. Just before Murdoch and the reader, who wouldn't have understood anyway, being,
Yeah, he won't know.
It's been quite the morning. It's not even lunchtime yet, folks. Murdoch stayed up way too late to be dealing with these people at this point.
Well, this one was on me, y'all.
No.
Sometimes the bard has to make an oopsie.
We're all of us collectively make an oopsie. It's okay.
The bird makes the oopsie and gets yelled at by the druid. There you go.
Bard makes an oopsie, gets yelled at by the druid, and goes, "I'm going to fix this within the next 15 minutes because I need to."
Everyone else is like, "Oh wow, you know that sucked."
Here.
It'll happen again next week, so who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will be back next week to see how our party handles their different research tasks. See how Art does taking their notes. And see what happens when the Great Reader's mind is reassembled. So until next time, folks, don't forget we have streams going just about every night during the week. I know Friday night is off. Friday night, Kindred Lists is off this week. It'll be back for the finale next week.
The finale!
Yeah, that one's going to be rough for a whole lot of people, but definitely check out and watch things. Oh, go ahead.
Can I make an announcement? I'm sorry, but we'll be off on Sundays till the New Year, upcoming New Year. So catch us again on Sundays in 2022.
Oh, okay, so it looks like we've got Rhyme is taking a little bit of time off for the holiday season, so they'll be back 2022. So yeah, keep an eye out with I didn't check and see if we had updated our schedule yet on Twitch. I'll make sure to message and make sure that gets updated if it hasn't been already. Yeah, definitely check it out, and don't forget, folks, when deciding whether or not it's a good idea to potentially rob a high-powered magic-using individual, maybe remember to check for traps before you try to break into their shit, and don't forget to add your proficiency bonus. See you next time, folks.